With the image trace, you can combine it with a tool called Live Paint Bucket to create really quick images that you can then color really simply. So I'm going to bring in another image of another animal, like a penguin, and I'm going to go down to image trace down here and select that. And when we're doing this, if you're going to be using the Live Paint Bucket, the more shapes you create, the harder it is, because that's the more shapes you have to fill with a different color. So if I choose something like 16 colors, it's going to create objects, and every time you see a color change, it's creating a new object, and that means that's a new thing that you would have to paint with a new color. So if I go to expand this, you can see that I've created all these little shapes. If I double click to go into the group, I can even see that each of these is a separate shape, and some of them are even super tiny. So when you use the Live Paint Bucket tool, you would have to go in and paint each of these shapes or objects, including even these tiny ones. So you would have to know where they're all at, and you can see down in the feet that would be a little bit hard as we select all these little tiny shapes. So when you do this and you're going to be using the Live Paint Bucket tool, you don't want to choose too many colors for your live trace or your image trace. So we're going to go ahead and select, I'm going to select 6 colors so it creates just blocky bits of color. Some of them are still small, but I can easily see them. It's not like I have a ton of colors down in these feet, particularly for this animal. I'm also going to remove the background. So to know that I want to remove some of these shapes and I want to color each shape individually, you definitely need to make sure that you've expanded your image so that way each of them is a different object. And I'm going to go ahead and go into that group and double click, and I am going to remove my background. And the reason I want to get rid of that is because I don't need it as part of my image here. It's going to just take away from what I'm doing, and I'm wanting to color just the animal at this point. You could, of course, keep the background at any time. It's up to you what you want to do with your images. I'm just showing how you can get in, expand something, select objects, remove them. I'm just hitting delete on my keyboard for once I select each of these so that I can go in and delete. And if you need to, you can go zoom in, but you could also, what's a really cool tool is you could select something of a color and go up to select same fill color. And when you do that, it will select anything in the shape or group that has the same fill color, and then you can just delete them all at once. So it's a really simple way to be able to go and delete anything of one specific color. And now that I have this object ready to roll, I'm going to move out of my group. I could have also double clicked here to do that. And with my object selected, which it looks like I have a little bit of blue up here, I'm going to go delete real quick. You need to make sure that all the object is selected and they are full paths. So you can't have paths that are just like line segments that exist and don't actually connect. So for instance, if I wanted to make a weird triangle here like this, and I drew my shape with each of these lines using the line segment tool, which I see students do this all the time. Okay, it'd be really important that you make sure that these lines in fact overlap with their paths. So zooming in here, I can see that the point of this anchor point is here, and it aligns with the path of the other one so they connect. I actually would want them to overlap a little bit more, but up here at the top of this line, it looks like it's overlapping, but it actually isn't because this anchor point doesn't actually reach this path. In order for the Live Paint Bucket to work, the paths must be overlapping, or the anchor points must sit on each other's paths so they are a full shape. So same thing here, I want to make sure that they are connected so they're a full shape. If not, the Live Paint Bucket can't paint it because it technically can't find the center of it. So I'm going to go ahead and select, if I were to select all 3 of these lines, I could go and find my Live Paint Bucket, which is actually a new tool we haven't added here. So we're going to hit Edit Toolbar, and it's in the Paint section. So I'm going to scroll down to find the Paint section, and it's called the Live Paint Bucket. And I'm actually going to click and drag and drop that onto my toolbar to add it. And this is how you can add tools that are additional on top of the default toolbar, and then it'll stay there. I can then hit the triple dot to make the extra part go away. And notice that my shape was selected first. And so now I can click to make this a live paint group. And then it's going to paint it with my fill colors. So if I set my fill color to like pink, I can come in here and I can just paint it. What's important is if I didn't have those lines overlapping like I talked about before, so if they weren't, they were slightly off like this, and I went to go live paint them, it wouldn't work very well. Sometimes it allows you to figure it out, but if I, let's see if I can go to fill this. So see, it's not letting me fill it with a new color because it doesn't see this as an actual shape even though I selected it. So now I could do the same thing with my penguin. I could take my penguin, take my live paint bucket tool, hover over it. They're all grouped. It's all things that are full objects, and I can click to make it a live paint. The second I click to make it a live paint, I can change my fill color to whatever I want and just literally start going through and filling whatever pieces I want with that color really quickly. And you can zoom in to see all the little shapes and those things to be able to really set that fill color to whatever you want. So you can come in and quickly change your fill color. Now, if you're looking for a custom color over here, you're going to actually want to go over to your toolbar and double click on this box. And when you double click on this box for fill, you have only web colors at the bottom, but if you uncheck that, you can see every color in the spectrum. This bar on the right allows you to drag through the colors, and then this area on the left allows you to pick the colors, showing what you're going to get. Once you select that, then you can literally paint any color you would like to.